We are here for the Common Book Show once again, and we have some new people joining us, which that's really fun.
But
We have Richard here, who is here every week, and then of course Greg, and now we have Jill, and we have
Hello.
Vernice, and Vernice, are you there, Vernice? Yes, I see you. So we've got and me, Paula,
I'm
and
here.
and of course, did I say Greg? And
Okay, that's what they
Tom, my
use.
son, on drums. So we are here, and today Richard's going to start the show with something because he had a person come to the house
Right.
who was curious about the show, and he mentioned something. So we're going to let Richard start with his thoughts.
So I was listening to a mathematician who was talking about his views on time,
Mm-hmm.
and he said a lot of people have trouble understanding that time had a beginning. So here's what I say. I say to all the people who have trouble, here's what I tell them. Imagine you were traveling north. You would stop and say to somebody, which way is north? And they would point to you and you would keep walking and then go a little bit farther. Which way is north? They would point to you, which way, you know. You keep doing that until you reached the North Pole, at which point somebody would happen to be standing there by chance and you'd say, can you tell me which way is north? And they would look at you puzzled, like, that's a meaningless question.
So they would have to point up.
So, so he says it's that way regarding time.
Okay.
If you say, I want to go back in time, and then I want to go back in time, and I want to go back in time, every one of those statements makes sense until you hit the beginning. And at the beginning, it doesn't make any sense anymore to say, I want to go back.
I am not sure that I think that because, first of all, I think time, although there are markers of time, like seasonal markers, you know, the sun coming, you know, the equinoxes, but they're cyclical, they're not linear. So for me, I don't see any evidence of linear time. People age, but that's nothing to do with time. All I see are, do you remember those exercises you did as a kid when you were doing writing exercises, when you were learning how to do script? And it was circle, 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 circle. That's how I see time. I don't see any line of time. So I can't understand time as a thing with a beginning. I can only understand time as a cyclical thing. And I don't know.
How you described
Go ahead.
time reminds me visually. It sounds to me like "Time" by Pink Floyd.
Oh,
That's interesting.
that's from Dark Side
You
of
know
the
how
Moon, right?
sometimes, yes, you know how sometimes different notes can look like different colors than that. For some reason, your description reminded me of that song.
Huh. I never thought of it, but
It's kind of winding.
it's not a. I don't think it's an original thought. I think I got it from a Tom Robbins book. I don't remember which book it was, but I do remember rereading that book and saying, "Wait a minute, this sounds very much like my idea of time." And I've read this book before, so I probably snatched it from this book. But I think when I read it, it just made so much sense to me that I've adopted it as the way I think about time. And
Now, you mentioned writing exercises.
yeah,
I would like, since you mentioned that, I would like to acknowledge the painter Cy Twombly, who made he made a fortune painting paintings like this.
Yes.
yeah, I have seen these paintings, yes. And if that's what his vision is, I guess I am, you know, and of course, we always say, I could do that. You know, I mean, it's always one of those things that we say that, but if we did it, we'd be copying him. So we wouldn't actually be doing it. We'd be copying him. You know, if we were the first ones to do it, you know, I mean, I've done that. I've done that when I was trying to get a pen to work. You know?
So you did it without copying him,
Right, I did it,
even
but
though you came out with the same results.
I wasn't looking at it as a work of art. I was looking at it as a functional thing to make, to get that ink into the right spot in my pen so I could write with it. But yeah, those writing exercise that was definitely, that looked like one of mine from, first grade or second grade, whenever you learn how to do cursive. I don't remember. Do you remember when you learned cursive?
I know they do it in third grade.
Do they do it?
I was just
Yeah.
looking at it. I was looking at my child's. I went through an old box today, and I saw the work they gave my child in third grade, and it included practicing cursive. So I know they did it at least in third grade. Maybe they started in second.
Yeah, my
But-
granddaughter's had some cursive extra. In fact, she liked cursive. She was really, she thought it was like drawing. She enjoyed cursive, which is
Some
good.
of the questions they had on these papers and the comments the teachers wrote, they would never get. They'd lose their job if they did that today.
Yeah.
What do you mean they were harsh?
I mean- They were okay. So my child was getting all the words spelt right on these spelling tests, but she would mark it wrong if the S wasn't as S-ish as she wanted it.
Oh.
Oh.
She and it's like you could clearly see it was the right letter,
Yeah.
on a few things. I mean, I didn't see any of the words spelt incorrectly, just some of the letters were lazy, but that could be why my child has better penmanship than I do.
Well, but didn't you? I mean, I know I did in high school. I changed my penmanship to be representative, like unique. I started making my letters differently. I didn't make my letters the same way I did when I learned cursive. I started I developed a flourish, so I would put my I didn't do it exactly the same. I don't know, Vernice, did you change your handwriting when you got to be like in high school?
Oh, this was
Mhm. Oh, yes, because then sometimes you see the magic of cursive writing
Ye-
and your individuality in it all. Because that's why the whole thing of not teaching kids cursive, I find sad, because that's how that was a way of security. If you wrote something, your signature
Right,
or whatever,
right.
as you get grown, you can prove whether you did something or not
That's
by
a-
your signature.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah.
And oftentimes that was reflective of people's personality. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, I made sure that I had a unique, my capital letters
Yeah, we
were less curly Q than they were when I was in grade school, and more direct. I think that
Yeah.
I changed it that way, but so we got really off on a tangent here. We went from time to
time to writing.
to writing. Oh, what a good segue. I am going to read a poem that you know what, Richard? I wanted to, because I know you always ask me, what does that mean? And you're asking me what it means to me.
Yeah.
I was going to write something out so I wouldn't feel like I had to do it on the, I wanted to compose it, but I didn't, because my sisters are in town and I didn't have time. So this book is Leonard Cohen, Book of Longing, and it was a national bestseller. But we bought it in Canada though, so it was a national bestseller in Canada.
He's Canadian.
Yes, he's Canadian. So anyway, Greg bought this for me for our anniversary. And I've been reading it a little bit at a time. He has got a poem in here called SOS 1995, and for some reason this really moved me. I'm not exactly sure what the points are that he makes that I felt so drawn to, but I'm going to read it anyway.
Do you want people to see it on the screen while you do it? Because look, see.
Oh, you sure you can.
Okay.
It says, take a long time with your anger, sleepyhead. Don't waste it in riots. Don't tangle it with ideas. The devil won't let me speak, will only let me hint that you are a slave. Your misery a deliberate policy of those in whose thrall you suffer, and who are sustained by your misfortune. the atrocities over there, the interior paralysis over there. Pleased with the better deal? You are clamped down. You are being bred for pain. The devil ties my tongue. I'm speaking to you, friend of my scribbled life. You have been conquered by those who know how to conquer invisibly. The curtains move so beautifully, lace curtains of some sweet old intrigue. The devil tempting me to turn away from alarming you. So I must say it quickly. Whoever is in your life, those who harm you, those who help you, those whom you know and those whom you do not know, let them off the hook. Help them off the hook. Recognize the hook. You are listening to Radio Resistance.
Wow.
I just thought that was,
Wow.
I got chills when I read it, and I got chills again.
Mhm.
And I mean, that's what a
Mhm.
poem's supposed to do, isn't it?
Yes.
It's supposed to give you some kind of reaction. I just, and I will at some point take time to write out why this moved me so much.
Well, is it about when you suffer trauma in your life
Uh-huh.
at the hands of people
Yes.
and you carry that trauma with you
Mm-hmm.
and you blame the people? He's saying,
Yeah, let
stop
them off the
blaming
hook.
them.
Let them off the hook. They, because everybody is coming to the situation with their own trauma. Everybody's carrying their own trauma. Like I could sit there and blame my mother until, the cows come home.
Yeah.
But my mother had suffered trauma in her life. And so she was unaware of how she was affecting me. And you can go back into infinity. You can go back to my grandmother who suffered trauma. I don't know. I mean, I don't really know my grandmother, but because it's a human condition. It's what happens with children. And even if you have the best parents, there's always that one comment that they make offhandedly that will stick with you. And so I just found this, and it was perfect timing because now, Vernice, I told you that by giving me the opportunity to perform my work at the Paul Robeson Theater, you had inspired me to continue my book. Well, the two things that I wrote about that I was
Mhm.
dying not to write about, that were really hard for me, that I was really putting myself in, I was in a state about them. I wrote them, and
Okay.
after I wrote them, I felt relieved, and I said, you know what? I don't have to put these in the book. I can,
Oh, that's
I don't have to make this public. I can let this
exactly.
go. And then it's around the same time that I'm reading this, so it was like
Mhm.
one of those weird mystical
Well,
things that come together at the same time.
thank you.
It's like,
Well, that's similar to what I like to share with up and coming writers. I said, write it and you'll look at it and it'll let you know whether it's meant to be or not to be. But you got to write it to find out.
right.
So don't get frustrated that everything you write
Yeah.
isn't a hit or everything you write, you don't think you can put it out. Just getting it out and seeing it on paper oftentimes bring a release and a relief. And then you can ball it up and say, okay, I don't have to deal with that anymore.
I, I
And
I found that so
mhm,
liberating. I just found it so
yeah.
liberating that I could, I read it to Greg, and it's something that I've never really talked about to people. It's something
Mhm.
I haven't really made public or shared, and I was nervous about sharing it, but I thought it won't make the book won't make any sense without it. But guess what? Yes, it will.
Mhm. Yeah, I think now you bring up something. One, in the Hebrew language, devil mean adversary. Satan and devil, the Hebrew. That's why I really like to translate. I've got a concordance, and it
Uh-huh.
does the Hebrew, the Aramaic, and the Greek
Yeah.
actual word. And English is such a lacking language when it
Mhm.
comes to the spiritual realm.
Uh-huh.
And when you were reading the piece by Cohen, some of his stuff were kind of Buddhist because they have a thing called equanimity
It's so
or
yeah.
balancedness.
It's so funny you should say that because
Okay.
he wrote this when he was at a Zen monastery. So he wrote this. He
Hmm.
wrote this from there. So
Right. And one of the principles of Zen is dealing with being bored, which I
I
thought
never
was
heard it put that
amazing.
way.
yeah, well,
Yeah.
it's doing nothing. But the thing is, are people confuse that. It's not doing nothing. It's doing things without being too emotionally attached to it.
Right. But sometimes it is doing no thing.
Yeah, yeah, right,
Okay. And that's the kind of the difference between the East and the West
right,
is understanding we don't have to always necessarily take an action as we perceive what an action is.
right.
Because sometimes no action is an action.
That's for sure. Yes, that is for sure. I have an example of that. My sister fell, and when she was in Florida, she fell on the concrete, and a young man watched her, and she called for help, and he did not come to her assistance.
Okay.
Doing nothing
Wow.
that was spoke volumes. So I don't know what it said. Did it say I'm afraid of being sued?
But
Yeah,
talking about exactly, because that's said to say that's kind of the society we are in.
right.
When I was working in New York, this lady, I could tell she had some kind of disadvantage, I'll put it that way. And I went over to assist her to help her get up because she had fallen. And she said, "Get away, get back, get back." And then instead of taking offense, I had to make myself pause
Yeah.
and realize the situation.
Right.
We're in New York, even though I've always had a good time anytime I've been there and everything. But
Oh yeah, it's
I
different.
have to make myself pause.
Yeah, I lived there for a while, and it took me a long time to stop being aware of my back when I moved back to Buffalo.
Hmm.
Took me a long time.
Hmm.
But
Yeah, so it's bad what your sister went through, but if we can, when certain things don't happen the way we would think it would if it was us and situations was reversed,
right,
then we have to understand people have different
different.
experiences.
Right.
So that prevents us from getting frustrated and getting to that space of, my God, what has the world come
Yeah,
to?
you
And
right.
everything.
No
Things have
expect.
changed
You have
so
to
much.
change. You have to get rid of your expectations. Expectations are dangerous, and they get you into trouble.
Hmm.
Yeah. So,
Hmm.
Greg, what are you reading these days?
The new Sight and Sound magazine that you bought me
Oh yeah, we
for a
finally
subscription.
we finally got it. It's a magazine from England, and it took a long time for them to, for
Reading
some
a-
reason, get it to us.
Reading about Paul Schrader and his new movie Master Gardener, where it's about a it's about a white supremacist who's trying to realize that racism is horrible. He's trying to learn. I haven't seen the movie yet.
How, you mean he? Wait a minute. So, it's
A former
why?
white
Why, if he's a white supremacist, why is he
a
trying to
former
learn?
white supremacist who's
former.
trying
Okay.
to learn about how we're all one race, the human race. I didn't see it yet though.
Oh, well, I'd like to see that too.
Sounds interesting.
Is it something that it's streaming?
Yep,
Did you see it?
What's it called?
I saw it.
Master Gardener.
Oh, did you like it?
I thought it ran out of steam 3/4 of the way through.
Oh, well, 3/4 was good then. The glass is half full.
Well,
Well, his boss is Sigourney Weaver. She owns this palatial estate, and she's hired him to be the gardener.
Okay.
And you know something's kind of weird in the very first scene when he calls her by her first name. Not Mrs. So-and-so, he calls her by her first
yeah.
name, So you know that they have like a history.
Uh huh.
And then at one point
Wow.
she fires him. And I don't want to give away the whole plot.
Okay. All right. Well, you don't have
Okay.
to, but
Yeah.
it sounds. I'd like to see it, Greg, when you're ready to see it. Where's it streaming?
I think Netflix.
Oh, we got that. Okay, so I have. Does anyone have anything they're reading or they've heard recently that's interested them enough to share? Okay, I'm gonna.
I have not had anything wonderful.
Well, no, I mean because sometimes you just hear something. I'm listening to a. Oh God, I don't know if you guys know about Libby. I talk about this almost every week now. Libby is a app on your phone where you can take your library card and you can get audiobooks and
Wow.
you
Yeah.
can listen to them for free. I am loving Libby. Libby is my favorite thing, and
I'm gonna have to get Libby.
I've been listening to this thing, this book called "The Body." The what do you call it when you? I can't remember the body. The subtitle is the when you live in something. What is that called? What's
A
that word?
habit.
Well,
No, no, I can't remember. Here, I got it on my phone. I'll have to. I, the oh, shit, I keep losing it. You know that is. I've never had a good
that's
memory,
a
and
dwelling place. Mhm.
age is not helping. Okay, so
Oh, stop saying that.
it's the body.
Don't say
It's
that.
the
Don't say. You
body.
could just say it's challenging to read that.
And I have the wrong glasses. See, this is what I mean. Now I got the glasses. I got to get the other glasses on. The Body, a guide for occupants. That was it. The Body, a guide for
Oh, okay.
occupants by Bill Bryson. Now, Bill Bryson wrote
Wow.
a short history of everything or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And he's a really good uh, accessible. Gives you a lot of really hard information in an accessible way. And so I've been really enjoying that. He's talking about disease now and
Mm.
it's the way diseases are spread. Did you know that the last cases of not scarlet fever, what was the one that was in the the blankets they gave the native
Smallpox.
smallpox. The smallpox was spread. The last smallpox was spread by someone opening a window and smoking a cigarette. The smallpox had somehow gotten out of into the air, and it infested the people that walked by the building from like
Oh God.
yeah, that's how and that the United States, North Korea, China, Russia, they all have frozen
A sample.
virus in
Mhm.
I mean, this could be used as a contaminant and
Mhm.
anyway, there's a lot of information in here that's scaring the crap out of me, but all I can say is
I know because they got those caves in Norway and whatnot. Yeah.
but the other thing is there's diseases that just pop up out of nowhere and then they just disappear. Like Legionnaire's disease was something that they didn't recognize right away, but it was something from the past, and it just pops up.
Hmm.
And the other thing, that's another thing, with the Legionnaire's disease, people that walked by the convention center, they had the air conditioners were blowing out the disease to the street.
Mm. Oh
That's,
my
you
goodness.
know, and I'm like, oh my God, it's a miracle that we're all here and alive. That's all I can say. It's like, what are the chances that we survived all of this commotion and these germs and diseases and ticks and all this stuff, and yet we're all here and we're all healthy for the most part. For anyway, that's
Mhm.
I'm really enjoying this book, even though this disease chapter is kind of scaring the crap out of me. But yeah, if you don't, honestly, Bernice, if you don't have Libby on your phone, you have to get it because you can instead of listening to the crappy radio, and you know you can listen to a book in your car, and it is and it's so much better than listening to all that hate stuff on the news and so forth.
Exactly.
Learning something.
Yeah. Well, the one thing, the one thing for me is reading a lot of plays. That's the big thing I've been doing
Really?
lately. Area playwrights, yes, because as you
Oh,
shared, I'm so
oh.
looking forward to your piece in March, running from March to April of next year,
I
and
hope
your
you're right.
story. You just
No,
stop.
no, I
I'm
know,
gonna
I
get
know.
you.
I know. It'll be fun. I've never done anything like this, but I am looking forward to it as well.
Thank you. And other pieces like the first opening piece is going to be by area playwright Shirley Sarmiento, Holly's Place, which is a place about healing
Hmm.
and coming into wholeness. And the other piece that I had seen before, Carrie Kate Abel Smith's piece, Hoarding Hope, which deals with the a woman's perspective
Uh-huh.
during the epidemic back in the 1980s, and
Uh-huh.
how this nurse, in spite of everything she has gone through, come to the aid
Wow.
of these patients that other people would not touch. And she ends up setting up this clinic and everything.
Do you know Tim McPeak?
No, I don't.
Well, on Monday night, he is doing a
Mhm.
very informal reading of a new play that he wrote, and he's an excellent poet, and I think he's brilliant. I haven't read it, but he's going to be
Mhm.
doing it at Rust Belt Books,
Oh,
and so at 7 o'clock on Monday, and I plan on going because
oh,
I'm
just when I'm having a rehearsal.
yeah, but you know what? I'll keep you posted on that, and I'll let you know if what I think of what he's doing, because I think he's a really interesting guy who has his heart in the right place. You know, that kind of person. So I will keep you
Okay.
posted.
Mhm.
But anyway,
So I was
Thank
listening
you.
to an audiobook
yeah.
if
Well,
you're interested in
sure.
audiobooks instead of just reading
Well,
books.
they're still books, Joe. I love audiobooks. I mean, I wouldn't be able. How else could I read
I
while
love
I'm
audiobooks.
washing the dishes?
Exactly. That's what I do. I've been listening to something Wrong Place, Wrong Time.
Uh-huh.
Hmm.
Is
Have you
that
ever heard of it? It's Gillian Flynn.
I
She
don't
did like Gone Girl, and
so
she did a lot of
so it's a
books.
novel.
It's a novel,
Yeah, how is
and
that?
it's good. I've read a few of her books that I've liked, and I saw it on an audio app. So I tried it this week, and I've been listening to it this weekend, and very interesting.
Yeah, you got to get Libby though because those are free. I love free.
Oh, I wrote that down. I wrote that down.
Yeah, and it's great.
I've been paying for these books.
All you need is a library card, and you can go through thousands and thousands and thousands of audiobooks, and you know
Can you
sometimes
get a library card online?
I think you got to go to the actual You might be able to now, but usually you have to go to the library and prove where you live and stuff. Yeah, you know the one on the one in Elmwood, in Elmwood Village is usually not.
Of the
What,
Brighton
what's
Library.
Brighton? Is that what is that one?
Crane.
Crane Library.
So Crane. Okay,
Yeah,
the Brighton is out there in
yeah.
Tonawanda. Okay.
So the Crane
Great.
Library is usually not busy. You could probably just waltz in there and get a library card.
My local library has become the North Buffalo Italian Heritage Center.
But
Oh yeah.
isn't there one across the street from there that in that plaza, or there used to be like a little
There is. I mean, where Kmart used to be.
where Kmart used to be.
There's a library in there?
Not in the Kmart, but in that plaza.
down at the end, further away from where the Kmart used to be. North. It's still the
Oh,
north.
so we're like the Quest
It's still-
Lab or
it's
we're the
still
billiards
North Park.
place?
It's still North Park.
It's still the North Park Library, but I haven't never been in there, but it looks like
It's
a.
nice.
Is it?
Yeah.
It looked dinky to me from the outside.
It's small, but it's nice.
Oh, okay. So there you go.
Oh, wow. I'm going to check it out this week then.
Yeah.
Gillian Flynn
Good to
did.
know.
She wrote Sharp Objects too. That was a good.
That I
TV
like
show
Sharper
with,
Objects.
with Amy Adams. You see
Yeah.
the TV show, Jill, with Amy Adams? It was really
No.
good. It was
No.
the best thing Amy Adams ever did. Her and Patricia Clarkson played her mother. It was really cool.
I will-
was it a movie or a
HBO
show?
TV show.
Oh, okay. I don't think I've seen that.
I read the book.
It's
I
a good,
have the book.
It's a good book and it's a good TV show.
Okay, so now, Richard, what's on the list?
Something that we never got around to. The guy who puts up the paintings.
The guy who puts up the paintings. Oh, this guy. Yeah, he's got one nail on the wall, and he's got one painting for daytime, and he's got one painting for nighttime.
Oh,
So, what is your interpretation of this cartoon?
Well, it's I think it's the disconnection from nature, and here he is. Can you imagine this guy's circadian? Oh, that's another thing about this book. Circadian rhythms are really cool. So he's got to be all messed up. I mean, what is it actually? It could be the middle of the night when he puts the daytime picture up there.
Well, I asked a couple people, what do you think of that cartoon? And I got different views. Like one person said, he must be living in a house where there's no windows. And this is the only way he can actually experience the outdoors,
Wow.
is through art.
It does look like a rather modest apartment.
And he said, and I said, well, what do you mean a house with no windows? And he said, well, technically not a house. He said, a lot of cubicles these days don't have windows. So you are boxed in with 4 walls.
And I
Is
didn't-
that true?
exactly.
I didn't notice this until now, but there's a hammer on top of that
Yes.
little thing. So he just did this.
Yeah,
So this is new.
yeah. So this is my interpretation.
Okay.
Okay. The guy does have a window in his house, in
Yeah.
my interpretation.
Okay.
All right. But he prefers seeing the artistic representation of the outside when he could just as easily go look out the window.
So it's static. There's nothing bad happening.
And the conclusion is that art is what separates us from the world. See, he could have
Ooh.
gone. He could have looked out the window. Instead, he looked at
Maybe
the
he's-
art.
Maybe he's covering the window.
Huh.
Maybe.
Oh my God, you don't know, that's right.
The window. That's true, Jill.
That could
He doesn't
be.
like his view.
Right. Maybe he's got a view of the garbage dump or something.
Or he's so used to night mode on all his devices that he has to have it on his wall.
Well, I don't know. I mean, our art separates
And
us.
what's interesting is the picture of the same setting.
Yeah, exact same, except there's a moon and there's a sun.
It's exact same, except one is day and one is night, but it's the same city view. It's not like even it's
But
different.
if you had a city view like that, you'd have a pretty nice apartment. If you think, look,
Exactly.
that would be a pretty nice apartment. Maybe he lives in a basement,
Yeah. Yeah.
and there's no view.
Yeah.
But how
He just doesn't like his view.
See.
how is the light coming from the painting?
Oh, you look at the shadow on the floor, huh?
Yeah.
That's another interesting thing that Tom pointed out. It's like the sun
good.
from the painting is causing a shadow. Like the art is so real,
That's
it's
right.
affecting him.
Wow,
Mhm.
I never noticed
Because
the
that's
shadow,
true, the
Tom.
shadow behind it.
Good,
Yes.
good.
Maybe it's an LD.
Maybe yeah, it's not a painting, but it's like in the movie posters where the light's coming from behind.
It's an LED lamp or something.
It's a lamp. A lamp. I wonder if the room gets dark when he puts the dark one up.
It might. It just might. Hey.
Yeah,
And stuff. Because that's interesting, Greg. You noticed the shadow, because as soon as you said that, I
yeah.
was like, he's right. Because
So,
not only
Tom
all the
had-
shadow, the
Tom,
plants and everything.
Tom, that was a really very detailed kind of a good catch there, Tom.
He's a chip off the old
There
block.
could be an overhead light.
That's right. He is a chip off the old block.
Old blocks.
The old blocks. So, yeah, that is an interesting little cartoon.
Squared away.
I was typing that. Okay, I'd like to think he is making the best of the situation, given the light and the dark. A way to keep time and stay grounded. if it was not possible to, I like, who are you,
Remember I was telling you about the steps?
the
My steps?
oh, Squared Away. That's who you are.
That's the name of his
Hello.
business. His name is Rick.
Do you do anything besides concrete?
Oh, he does a lot of stuff.
Good.
Anything, yeah.
I'm going to need to talk to you, Squared Away. I got some stuff
To get squared away.
to get squared away. Exactly.
She needs squared away.
Yeah. So I am.
My face looks strange today.
I really like.
Is
I
it just
really,
me, Paul, or does my face look weird to you?
Yeah. You look very.
I mean, I look good, but I feel like
You look good.
I don't look like myself. I don't feel like I look like myself. It's strange.
you look like
Look at
yourself.
my nose.
You look like yourself, but different.
I look like myself, but different. Is something weird off about? I woke
Yeah,
up on the
your
wrong
no-
side of the bed today.
Your
or
nose
something.
is definitely bigger.
Yeah.
There's
Maybe the camera adds weight to your
To
nose.
your nose.
there's an Oscar Wilde quote: "Give a man a mask, and he'll tell you the truth." Would it apply? Give a man an avatar, and he'll tell you the truth.
No, I tell the
Oh,
truth.
no.
I tell the truth anyways, without a
Greg is-
mask.
Greg
But
is
yeah,
very-
I think Nessa used the mask to tell the truth, or her version of the truth. I'm going to put this mask on. Now tell you the truth.
Yeah, I think there's a truth that can be told only when you. But that's what's happening online. You know, people are anonymous and they're being really nasty.
Yeah, they have
I mean,
pseudonyms for our masks.
but I don't see the whole. Does it make them feel powerful?
Yes, it does to some
Because
extent.
I think I wouldn't be nasty even if I was anonymous. There's no
Because you're a
reason.
sweet flower.
I'm not a sweet flower, and you know that.
Oh wait a minute,
I
I'm
am
thinking of somebody else.
So I mean, that's that anonymous stuff is it can get scary. Those people, no, they must be very unhappy and very powerless people. I just
Man,
don't get it.
Buffalo Hall! Buffalo Hall!
Take the
Dudley! Buffalo Hall!
take
That's
the
it.
mask off of him.
Oh my goodness.
Take that off, you dip. What else is on your list, Richard?
Something that let's see here. I think I hit F11. Mr. Windsor, how do you get out of full screen? Okay, thank
I
you.
love that you're asking him.
Yeah.
He's the one who switched it for me, so I thought he would be the one. Okay, so this is an interesting little fact.
Okay.
1960, Marilyn Monroe was the highest paid movie star in the country. She made $100,000 per movie in 1960. That was 17 times the median family income.
Okay.
In 2023, Tom Cruise is the highest paid movie star in the country, and he makes
You're kidding.
He makes $30 million a movie. That's 428 times the median family income.
Wow.
Now let's take another example. In 1969,
Wow.
Sonny Jurgensen was one of the highest paid players in the NFL, and he made $125,000 a year, which was 11 times the family income.
Yeah.
Today, in 2023, Lamar Jackson is the highest paid player in the NFL, and he makes $52 million a year, which is 742
Wow,
times the
that's-
median family income.
That's
America,
changed
what's
the-
happening?
Yeah. Cult hero worship. I mean, it's
Why is the gap
Because-
drifting so
well,
severe?
I'll tell you one of the reasons why. It's because the median income has not increased the same way that these people who are big stars. It has not, because they're making lots of money off of these big stars. And regular people aren't. It has not. So when we talk about inflation, what we're really talking about is now that the prices are going up, the people's income cannot keep up with this. And even at $15 an hour for minimum wage, people struggle. I mean, the rents are like in North Buffalo, the rents are like $1,300 for an apartment. Who if it's not supposed to exceed a third.
Our mortgage is less than that.
Right, but it's not supposed to exceed a third of your income. And it used to be a quarter, but it's changed to a third. Now,
Mhm.
who is able to keep up with that? Like
Out of towner.
I can't. I'm so glad we bought our house when we bought it. I am so glad. I don't know how, and I have not raised my tenants' rent, and I am not going to because I think it's evil. I think that what's going on and making money off of people's backs, no one will ever be able to afford to buy a house anymore. Not that my tenant's trying to buy a house. She's not, but still, I don't see the reason for it. You know, it's just not. It's not ethical. It's not ethical. And I know the price of property has gone up, but it's a bubble again. We're in a bubble.
Hmm. And not only that, you got a lot of out of towners because people are getting scared around the country and as quiet as it's kept, foreign countries as well.
Yes.
Because it's just like on the east side, you got little Bangladesh and little Medina
Yeah,
that's setting up on Bailey
on
and everything.
in
Because
the Lovejoy
Mhm.
area, you have got investors from China and Great Britain buying up the properties. They don't give a shit who moves in there. They don't check anybody's
Wow.
references, and all they do is make
Right.
money, and they let the house go to shit, and then it's got to be torn down because it hasn't. And nobody. And I called and I tried to get. I said, who do I talk to try to get a law passed? So that
Right.
people who want to buy the properties to live there can have first shot at them. And they said, "Oh, we can't do that because our economy, we're that's not the kind of economy we have. You have it's a free country, and anybody can come in and buy as long as they have the money. So capitalism is the
Mhm.
rule." And I'm like, well, yeah, but what does that mean for the people who are?
Oh, but I got a question to ask you, Paula.
Yeah.
Hmm. Yeah, but I thought a few years ago, Buffalo passed a law, whereas if the property wasn't being kept up, the city could take them to court.
Yeah, but
What
these people
happened?
are in Great Britain and China, and who are they taking to court? They're taking to court the management companies. The management companies
Well,
don't.
yeah, but the management company should be held accountable if they have agreed to represent these people. If they're in Saudi Arabia, whatever, they're getting paid a fee. But look, because sometimes they'll buy the thing. I think Buffalo's in a place like California where people buy a house and they just tear it down and keep the lot. So they don't care about
Yeah,
if it goes to crap
yeah,
because it's so cheap in their eyes. But the
right.
city should, because I think it may have been about 5 years ago or so, Buffalo supposedly passed the absentee
Yeah,
landlord
I've
law.
heard about that.
They've had that for years. They
Yeah,
just don't enforce it.
yeah. I was going to say that's what's happening.
See,
They're not enforcing it because there's just too much of it going on. Just they don't- they're making money off of these. First of all, how do they pay their? They can't pay their rent. That's why they're getting evicted. They're not able to keep up with the rents.
Mhm.
The house next door to my friend Gloria used to be a single family home, and now there's 3 units, and every year it looks worse and worse. And
Mhm.
the landlord's local.
Well, and the sad part is you got landlords that are issues, but you also have tenants that are issues.
Oh yeah, and
And
there's so
you
nobody
never got
checks as long
balance.
as you've got money to put down a down payment. Nobody checks your references in these places. They don't care. Just get them in, get some money, get them out. Get them in, get them out. It's yeah. Not everybody that's renting is
Right.
that.
I know two different people that complained back when I was in college to the city about their landlords, safety issues. And they came, they inspected, they evicted everybody
What?
because they weren't fit to live.
Yeah.
So that's why people don't complain,
Well,
because if the city's going to fine the landlord, the city's going to say this, they're only going to fine them if it's something that's a health or safety violation. And if it's a health or safety violation, they're going to get the people out of there because it's not fit to live.
Oh God.
So by turning in your landlord, you're probably going to be evicted because the city is finding it not fit to live in. So
Mm,
that's one of the reasons why a lot of people don't complain.
That's true.
oh,
You know,
wow.
when I was a job coach, I had a young woman who had a couple kids, and she was living on the east side, and the back window blew out because the house was in terrible condition, and it took her 9 months to get that window replaced. They had, and it was during the. I mean, they had boards in there, and she put the cardboard and the boards in the window to keep the cold out because she had kids in that house. She ended up moving into a project, and she's got
Mm,
better conditions there, really. So what are you going to do?
mm-hmm.
This is another tangent. How did we get on this tangent now? what was the,
Somebody should write a book about it.
what was the catalyst for this one? Um, yeah. So what is that on the screen over there? Is that something you wanted to show, Richard?
Well, just another cartoon.
Cartoon. Okay. Sure.
Okay, so the police officer's looking at her driver's license, and he's saying, "Your license says you're a woman. You got any proof of that?" And I asked a couple people
Oh, my
I know,
goodness.
like, what would he accept as proof?
Mm-hmm.
I can't even. I guess well,
We ain't gonna go there.
right. I'm.
In other words, the whole undercurrent of that cartoon is
Right.
gender in the mind or in the body? Because if it's in the
Mm-hmm.
body, then she has to show her body.
Yeah, but
But if it's in the mind, like, what do you show?
I think where did you find that cartoon? Just on the publication. Was there a publication that came from? I'm just curious.
Well, it's from the guy who wrote it is named Danziger,
Yeah.
and he is like, there's some class A cartoonists who will always have their cartoons reproduced because they're so good.
Oh, syndicated. Yeah.
Yeah, syndicated. So like Adam Ziglas for the news, you'll see
Yeah,
his
yeah.
are reproduced, and a couple other people. Oh, David Horsey from Seattle, you'll always see his reproduced. And Danziger is one of those people.
Political cartoons.
He's
yeah.
very good at like tapping into an issue with just one frame.
Yeah.
And that's it, because that's all the Midwest and the South. That's what's going on.
yeah.
You know, with
Yeah.
the
And
whole gender issue thing. That
Yes.
looks like something that someone would put in Texas or in Iowa or whatever.
yeah, but I think I think it's like it's trying to make a point from
Oh, yeah.
from a liberal standpoint. I
You
don't
think this is from a liberal slant?
I don't think it's I don't think this is
Oh, no, but I'm saying
Yeah.
in a place like that, a liberal person
right.
would put a cartoon like that.
I
Because it can go either or, yes.
Yeah, I think that I am. I mean, I don't think we're so far away from that. Actually,
Mm-hmm.
you know, look at. They said that they're going to start checking gender in different sports, high school sports teams.
Mhm.
You know what?
A
They're
doctor.
going to give a physical examination to somebody to make sure they're the right gender. I mean, that is, it's abysmal. Oh,
That sounds
because
creepy.
because you got
creepy,
you got
totally creepy. It
well
sounds
because
like
you got boys who are identifying as girls now playing on girls teams, and there's been an outcry that from some of the coaches and administrators and some of
Do
the
you-
girls
do
that
you-
they
yeah.
shouldn't have boys who are now identifying as girls
yeah, but
play on the
do you
teams.
do you think for 1 second that somebody is going to change their gender just so they can have an edge on a sports
No, I'm just
team?
saying. I'm just saying that. No, I'm not
I
saying
mean-
that. I'm saying that the result is with the boys who identify as girls switching from playing with the men's team, with the boys' teams playing with the girls' teams. There's been some outrage from coaches, administrators, and girls on the teams that this boy is saying, "I am now a girl and I'm playing on the team," when especially if they excel, because it might be an uneven playing field in terms of physicality.
Well, I mean, if they're
I'm not saying it's right, but I'm
if
just
they're
saying that's what the
presenting-
reaction
if there's a male presenting as a female and they are getting treatments to keep their so that they don't reach puberty or whatever they're doing, whatever the age is, whatever, then
They're taking hormones.
taking hormones, right? So they're not going to have the same edge as a male who is
No, what I'm
at
saying
a
is-
certain hormone level.
What
I
I'm
mean,
saying, boys
I
are
would
just,
assume
are
if-
just
yeah,
A female that goes to male is taking testosterone and a lot of steroids to keep that.
right.
So
Right.
that would be that could be an unfair advantage.
Oh,
But I don't
so
think the
you're
other way
saying-
around could be.
You're saying that if a woman is going to transferring to male, that the extra
Aren't there steroids?
testosterone might give them.
But
the
aren't there
edge.
steroids involved?
Yeah, of course there are.
yeah. But I'm saying boys who are. I'm saying I've read this a few times. Some boys who are choosing to all of a sudden identify as female are not getting hormone injections or doing anything to change their body. They're just saying, "I'm now female. I am now female. And I'm
yeah,
going on the female team."
Yeah, but I don't think
I'm just
No.
telling what I read.
Yeah,
Sarcastic.
but-
That's
right.
being sarcastic.
it's right. It's being
Yeah, no. I believe you.
yeah, yeah. But I
It's
think
facetious.
right. I think that right. I think that these people who think this are wrong. I don't think that I don't think that any boy who is really truly in his heart, mind, and soul a boy is not going to pretend he's a girl to play on the girls' team.
I'm not saying pretend. I'm saying identify, not pretend.
yeah,
identify.
I know identify,
Feel,
but
That's
feel-
why
feel in
they
his
should
mi-
just-
feel in his mind that he's a girl.
yeah.
But not do anything to change his physicality. Just
But
in
that's
his
not gonna-
mind, he feels
yeah.
like he's a girl, so he's going to play in the girls'
But
softball team. That
I
kind
don't
of
know.
Should-
I don't know if that's
Why don't they just have co-ed teams then?
thing. Well, they could.
If all schools had co-ed teams,
True.
then that wouldn't be an
Yeah.
issue.
That would be.
Well, there's a problem.
Thank
The
you.
reason they don't have
Why
co-ed
should-
teams is because it's kind of like when Bobby Riggs thought, he was going to beat Billie Jean King. Of course, he did, and he was 30 years older. But the basic thing is, if you have the same age group of like basketball players, co-ed, and you have a 13-year-old boys and 13-year-old girls, all the stars in a team, almost all the stars in the teams will be male. The best.
At
the best
13, girls are usually taller than boys.
Well, I'm just saying, okay, like 16 then. If it's 16 and you have a co-ed team, and 17 in high school, almost all the starters will be boys then if you have a co-ed team.
It depends. It depends on how the players are.
Wow.
But why
I'm
separate
saying
people just
generally
because they're a
it's gonna
boy or a
be-
girl?
yeah.
Because I'm saying because usually the 16-year-old boys will be the starting players and the girls will be either on the bench or
All
off
right.
the team.
So why don't we do it this way then? Why don't we say that if you are a girl and you choose to try out for the boys' team, if you make it, you can play on the boys'
play.
team. If you're a 13-year-old boy and you want to play on the girls' team, and you make the team, you can play on the team.
Well, no, but I'm saying, and the stuff I read, they did make the team, but then there was an outcry from the administrators, the coaches, and some of the girls on the team saying, "Why is this boy playing on our team?
Because
That
they
he
don't-
made a team, but why he's not a girl?"
Because they don't.
Maybe they were jealous. Maybe he was
they're,
better than
they're
them.
they're just not thinking it. They're very they're closed-minded.
Well, there's a lot of closed-mindedness in the world.
Right. Well, that's what's happening. I think they're just.
I
Closed-minded.
think during this whole Trump situation, there's been much
Oh,
closed-mindedness on all sides.
No, there's always been closed-mindedness, but Trump gave people permission to be assholes. That's what happened.
Exactly.
Well, yeah,
And
he turned over the rocks and then
Yeah,
let them
and
crawl out.
let the
They were
bird
there
crawl
already
out. Yeah, they were
with
there.
their hatred and their bigotry and their ignorance, but he's like, hey, celebrate it. I'm
Yeah.
celebrating it for you people.
There's good people on both sides.
Yeah, it's good people on both sides when there's racism and murder. Good people on both sides. Let's not denigrate.
How did he go to the president from being "you're fired"?
Well, because people love. It's like Ronald Reagan. How did he go from being a B-list actor to the president?
Dudley.
He was a governor
Oh.
first. He was in government.
No, that's true. Good
Dudley.
point. Good point. How did he go from
I'm
how did he go
sorry,
from movie star to governor of California? Was because he was a movie star already.
Well, he could
like
probably
TV to
pass an
president.
AP history or AP U.S. history U.S. government class.
Well, he's
I don't
smarter
think
than Trump
our
ever
last
was,
president
but-
could have.
No.
Give me the.
I
mask
thought that was.
now.
I thought Reagan was a
Dudley's
joke too
watching.
because he was an actor.
Well, Reagan was he was a figurehead, sort of, I guess.
He was a figurehead.
But
was a-
the other guy. It's
Bubble
nice.
Hall,
It's
Bubble
ni-
Hall,
It's nice
Bubble
to
Hall.
see.
Let's see.
Dudley.
Reagan's wife tried to
Dudley,
keep
Bubble
children
Hall.
off of.
Bubble Hall.
Reagan's wife had drug issues and drinking issues,
Yeah,
but
they tried-
she did the just say no. And Trump's wife was in Penthouse.
and so she must have said, "Just say yes."
Which one?
Yeah, I guess that's the opposite.
Which one was in Penthouse?
I was talking the current one.
Which one?
Wasn't Marla Maples in Penthouse too? And wasn't Ivana Trump in Penthouse?
Probably.
All three of them were
Probably.
in Penthouse.
Penthouse. Woo.
They were all in Penthouse, but very tasteful.
Yes, you've seen this, have you?
I thought it was Penthouse.
I heard about it in the trades.
I
just
thought
realized.
Penthouse was not
Lovely.
supposed to be
Bubble Hall.
tasteful.
Uh,
Maybe Tom can find some pictures and show us.
oh,
Yeah, Richard, can you find the Penthouse photos of Marla Maples, Ivana Trump, and no, they might be nude though. They might be too nude for
well, that's okay.
Paula's
There's-
program.
I don't care if they're.
Well, we
nude.
can put
No, I
like
mean,
Mr.
you-
Potato Head over the
You know,
back.
Penthouse is
enjoy-
pretty racy.
Yeah, I enjoy.
Oh.
I
It's
enjoy
pretty
a
racy,
nice
Penthouse,
naked
Paula.
person.
Have you seen Penthouse? It's
I have
pretty,
seen
pretty
Penthouse.
racy.
What do you think? I've lived under a rock.
Not under a penthouse. No, they might be too explicit for your show.
Yeah, I don't know.
So a lot of his voters are
warning
against
you.
abortion, but it's okay to buy, foreigners that were in Penthouse and marry them.
Well, it's okay.
Well,
but
she
and
came
it's
in a
also
box.
okay. What about all the children? What about all the children who are having a hard time now? Why aren't they helping them? They're out of the womb.
Thank you. See, well, like they said, they're not pro-life. They're pro-birth. Then
Ah,
after that,
right.
you're on your
So-
own.
so we-
Okay?
Every
All we
Republican,
want you to do is produce these babies.
every
Okay?
oh my
After
God,
that, they're on their
Every
own. After,
Republican-
after birth.
That's all they want.
every Republican who is who is his pro life, they get in their Christmas stocking, they get a baby that wasn't wanted by that mother.
Thank you. Thank you, because I had to fight with a disagreement with a colleague at work one time. And I said, darling, I'm pro-choice because I'm going to admit, I do not want to do midnight Pampers and formula runs. Okay. I babysitted enough already.
Yeah.
Who am I because to a certain degree, I wish they wouldn't say abortion compared to saying pro-choice. People
Pro-choice,
should have
right. Nobody is pro-abortion.
and
Nobody
decide
is
for their life.
pro-abortion. People are pro-choice. It's
Right.
it's
It takes-
women making decisions about their
Exactly.
body.
There are situations where people can die,
Exactly.
Absolutely.
like tubular pregnancies.
Exactly. Well,
And how about and I mean it's just too close to the bone to Handmaid's Tale for me. Thanks.
right. But that's
I didn't
what
watch
it
that. I
is
heard that was
about.
good.
Ooh,
It's great, Jill.
Iowa,
It's
they're
great.
worrying about their population.
yeah,
So they prefer to keep women hostage
yes,
to bear these babies.
right.
And even if they're not all adopted, they don't want to increase Medicare programs for them,
What the hell are we gonna do?
education
How
and
many?
everything.
How
Well,
many abortions
2 minute
take place every year? How many abortions are there? How many
Game is almost
unwanted
done.
children would that be? Where would we put them? Who would take them? How would we secure their futures? How would we make sure that they're being fed? They have a house to live
Hey, some
in.
people
That they have somebody to.
some people are
love them.
doing it with earned income credit and public assistance.
mhm. That's true, though.
It's
It's true.
it is
And
it-
The more you have, the more you make.
it is right. It's true. After being a mom, I have to tell you, and after being a mom, by the way, who lived the first 5 years of my daughter's life on welfare, it is not a good lifestyle.
Exactly.
You are not making enough money to even get by. That it's
See.
not a
Mhm.
lifestyle choice I would make.
But if you had 4 more, you might
If
be
I-
able to
But no,
afford.
but it still ain't easy, though.
It
Pardon?
is
No.
nothing. I'm telling you, Jill. I had to hitchhike.
I only had one
I had-
because I
yeah.
can't afford more than that.
Yeah, I had to
Right. Well-
hitchhike to school because they would not pay for my bus fare. I had to hitchhike.
Mm-hmm.
I had to sell my food stamps because I could not afford to pay my gas bill. So please, I don't want to hear. I don't want to hear about how people. I mean, I know people can work the system, but if you're trying to do it the right way, it's nothing.
I don't understand why anybody would want to be like that.
It's hard and it's difficult. But anyway, we've got 16 seconds here, and I want to thank everybody, especially the two new people who we had, Jill and Bernice. And I'm so glad you joined us.
And Dudley joined us too via
and
satellite.
of course, Dudley, I'm so glad to see you on the messages, and we are the Common Book Show.
Okay. Pleasure to you all. Blessings.
Thank you very
All right,
much.
thank you.
See you.
All right.
Bye bye, everyone. Be
Bye,
well.
everyone.
Bye.